Commander Zara Chen stared at the holographic display in disbelief, her coffee growing cold as the translation algorithms worked frantically to decode the intercepted transmission. 3 days ago, every radio telescope on Earth had detected the same signal, a message broadcast across multiple star systems in what appeared to be a command frequency. The translation had come through an hour ago, and now the words hung in the air of the underground command center like a death sentence. By decree of His Imperial Majesty Kethmor the Eternal, third of the Crimson Dynasty, the primitive world designated Terra 3 is hereby marked for cleansing. Orbital bombardment to commence upon arrival of the purification fleet. No survivors. "Ma'am, we're getting confirmation from observatories worldwide," reported Lieutenant Hayes, his voice tight with barely controlled panic. The Hubble replacement picked up massive energy signatures moving through the outer system. Whatever's coming, it's big. Zara rubbed her temples, trying to process the impossible situation. Humanity had always wondered if they were alone in the universe, but they'd never expected first contact to come in the form of an extermination order. The signal had originated from somewhere beyond Pluto, suggesting the alien fleet was already in the solar system. "Time until arrival?" she asked, though she dreaded the answer. Based on the trajectory calculations, approximately 72 hours. 3 days. Humanity had 3 days before facing an enemy they knew nothing about, armed with technology that could broadcast clear signals across interstellar distances. Every world leader was in emergency session, but what could they possibly do against a civilization capable of casual genocide? Dr. Elena Vasquez burst through the command center doors, her usually pristine lab coat wrinkled and her dark hair escaping from its ponytail. As the head of xenolinguistics at the Global Defense Initiative, she'd been working around the clock to understand the alien communication. "Commander, we've got something," Elena said, slightly out of breath. The transmission, it wasn't just a command to their fleet. It was a general broadcast, like they were announcing it to other civilizations. "What does that mean?" "It means they've done this before, many times. The linguistic patterns suggest this is a standardized proclamation, probably used for dozens of worlds." Zara felt her stomach drop. "So we're not special. We're just next on a list." "That's what I thought too until we detected the response." "Response? Someone answered them?" Elena pulled up a new display, showing waveform patterns that looked completely different from the original alien transmission. This came from lunar orbit, approximately 6 hours after the initial message. Same frequency, but the signal structure is completely different. Ancient, almost. "The moon? That's impossible. We have bases there, observation posts. There's nothing that could generate a signal like this." "That's what we thought too." "But Commander, this signal didn't come from any human installation. It originated from the lunar surface itself, specifically from the far side in the crater Tsiolkovsky." Zara stared at the waveform patterns, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. "Have we translated it?" "That's the problem. It's not in the same language as the alien message, but it's not random noise either. There's definitely structure, syntax, meaning. It's a language, but unlike anything in our databases." "Could it be another alien species?" "Maybe. But there's something else. The signal's carrier wave contains mathematical constants that shouldn't exist naturally. Pi calculated to 1,000 decimal places, prime number sequences, the golden ratio. Whatever sent this message wanted to establish that it was intelligent and mathematically sophisticated." Before Zara could respond, alarms began blaring throughout the command center. Lieutenant Hayes looked up from his console, his face pale. "Commander, we're detecting massive energy buildup in the outer system. The alien fleet appears to be charging weapons." "Time frame?" "Unknown, but the energy readings are off the charts if they fire at full capacity." He didn't need to finish. Everyone in the room understood that humanity's weapons were essentially throwing stones at a nuclear bomb. Their only hope had been to somehow communicate, to plead for mercy, or find some way to negotiate. But how do you negotiate with beings who view entire civilizations as expendable? "Elena, I need you to keep working on that lunar transmission," Zara said. "If someone or something on the moon is trying to communicate, maybe they're trying to help." "Commander, there's something else," Elena said hesitantly. "The timing of the lunar response. It came exactly 6 hours after the alien message." Not 5 hours and 59 minutes, not 6 hours and 1 minute, exactly 6 hours. Significance? In human history, the number 6 has significance in many ancient cultures. 6 days of creation, 6 directions of space, 6 noble truths in some Eastern philosophies. But more importantly, if you're trying to communicate across species barriers, precise timing like that suggests deliberate intent. Someone wanted us to notice the delay. Over the next 18 hours, as humanity's government scrambled to prepare for the unthinkable, Elena's team worked frantically to decode the lunar transmission. They tried every cryptographic approach they could think of, ran the signal through linguistic analysis programs designed for dead languages, even attempted musical interpretation in case the aliens communicated through harmony rather than words. It was Dr. James Park, a theoretical mathematician borrowed from MIT, who made the breakthrough. "It's not a language in the traditional sense," he announced to the assembled team at 3 in the morning. "It's a mathematical proof expressed as waveform variations." "A proof of what?" Elena asked, her eyes bloodshot from staring at screens for 20 hours straight. "That whoever sent this message has been watching us for a very long time. The proof incorporates human mathematical discoveries spanning thousands of years, Euclidean geometry, Newtonian physics, Einstein's relativity, even quantum mechanics principles we only discovered in the last century." Elena felt a chill run down her spine. Someone's been monitoring our scientific development? For millennia, apparently. But here's the really strange part. The proof isn't just showing off mathematical knowledge. It's building towards something, like a grand unified theory that combines human mathematics with concepts we haven't discovered yet. "Can you determine what it's trying to prove?" James hesitated, double-checking his calculations. "Near as I can tell, it's a proof of conscious intervention in planetary development, like someone has been guiding human scientific progress." "That's impossible." "The math doesn't lie, and there's more. The final portion of the transmission contains what appears to be a direct response to the alien extermination order. I can't translate the semantic content, but the mathematical framework suggests a formal challenge or refutation." Elena grabbed his arm. "You're saying something on the moon just told a spacefaring civilization that they can't destroy Earth? That's what it looks like." Commander Zara arrived at the mathematics lab to find Elena pacing frantically while James continued running calculations. "Report," Zara said simply. "The lunar transmission appears to be some kind of legal or formal challenge to the alien destruction order," Elena explained. "But, Commander, we think we know why the aliens are here." "Go on." James pulled up a new display showing overlaid star charts. "The original alien message contained coordinate references that we initially thought were navigational data, but when we cross-referenced them with the mathematical proof from the lunar transmission, we found something disturbing." "What kind of disturbing?" "The coordinates mark the locations of star systems where intelligent life should have developed but didn't, dozens of them. The mathematical models in the lunar transmission suggest these weren't natural extinctions." Zara felt a cold weight settle in her stomach. "You're saying the aliens have been systematically wiping out developing civilizations?" "For what appears to be hundreds of thousands of years," Elena confirmed. "But the lunar transmission also contains something else. A record of interventions. Someone or something has been protecting certain worlds, helping them develop beyond the point where they're vulnerable to this kind of attack." "And Earth is one of those protected worlds?" "It appears so. The mathematical proof includes references to key moments in human development that seem too convenient to be natural. The development of agriculture, the Renaissance, the Industrial Revolution, even the space program. Like someone was nudging us along, helping us reach a certain level of development." "But why?" Before anyone could answer, alarms sounded again. Lieutenant Hayes' voice crackled over the intercom. "Commander, we need you in the main command center immediately. The alien fleet has stopped." Zara sprinted through the corridors, Elena close behind her. In the command center, the main display showed a tactical view of the solar system. The alien fleet, represented by dozens of red dots that had been steadily approaching Earth, had indeed stopped moving. They hung motionless in space, just beyond Mars' orbit. "How long have they been stationary?" Zara asked. "Approximately 3 hours, right after we detected another transmission from the lunar surface." "Another message. Elena, did your team detect it?" We did, and this one's different, much shorter, but it's in the same mathematical language as the first transmission. James is analyzing it now. Commander, Hayes interrupted, we're also detecting new activity from the alien fleet. They appear to be responding to something. Massive communication arrays are extending from their ships. Elena's earpiece crackled with James's voice. Elena, you need to see this. The second lunar transmission, I think it's an ultimatum. Within minutes, Elena had James on the main screen from the mathematics lab. His expression was a mixture of excitement and terror. The second transmission is much more direct, he reported. It's still using the mathematical proof structure, but this time it's laying out what appears to be a formal challenge under some kind of universal law or treaty. Can you be more specific? Zara asked. The mathematical relationships suggest a concept similar to legal guardianship. Like Earth is under the protection of whoever sent the lunar transmission, and the aliens are being formally notified that attacking Earth would violate some kind of interstellar law. And the aliens understand this? They must. Their fleet stopped moving immediately after the second transmission. Elena suddenly grabbed Zara's arm. Commander, what if the moon isn't just relaying messages? What if something has been living there, watching us, protecting us for thousands of years? From who? The same aliens who are threatening us now? Or from other threats we never knew existed? Think about it. The mathematical proof showed knowledge of human development spanning millennia. What if Earth has been under protection this whole time, and we just never knew it? The conversation was interrupted by a new alarm. This time, the readings showed massive energy discharges in lunar orbit. Not weapons fire, but something that looked almost like a massive structure materializing from nothing. My God, Hayes whispered, staring at his instruments. Commander, something is emerging from the far side of the moon. It's enormous. The main display switched to visual feeds from lunar observation satellites. What they saw defied comprehension. A structure easily the size of a small city was rising from the surface of the moon, its crystalline surfaces reflecting Earth's light in patterns that seemed to pulse with intentional rhythm. How long has that been there? Someone whispered. Unknown, Hayes replied. It wasn't there yesterday. Either it just appeared, or it was perfectly camouflaged until now. Elena was frantically taking notes, trying to process the implications. The lunar transmissions came from the exact coordinates where that structure is appearing. Whatever sent those messages, it's been hidden on the moon. But for how long? Based on the mathematical proof that referenced human development over millennia, potentially since before recorded history. As they watched, the crystalline structure continued to grow, extending delicate spires that seemed to bend light around them. But more importantly, it was transmitting not radio waves this time, but something that registered on every electromagnetic sensor they had. It's beautiful, Elena breathed, watching the structure pulse with colors that had no names. It's also terrifying, Zara replied. If that thing has been watching us for thousands of years without us knowing, what else don't we know about our own solar system? James's voice came through the speakers again. Commander, we're receiving a new transmission, but this time it's not in mathematical language, it's in English. The command center fell silent. After days of mathematical proofs and alien languages, someone was finally speaking to them directly. Put it through, Zara ordered. A voice filled the command center, neither male nor female, neither young nor old, with an accent that seemed to contain echoes of every human language that had ever existed. Children of Earth, I am the guardian who has watched over your world since your species first looked to the stars and wondered if they were alone. The Dominion of Kethmore has declared your world forfeit, as they have done to countless others. But Earth is under the protection of the ancient covenant, and your development has progressed beyond the point where such intervention is permitted. The voice paused, and in the silence, everyone in the command center could hear their own hearts beating. Your species has reached the threshold of cosmic citizenship. You have developed beyond the vulnerability that once required my protection. The mathematics of consciousness that your greatest minds have begun to discover, the quantum entanglement theories you call speculation, the unified field equations you have glimpsed. These are the tools by which advanced civilizations govern themselves and interact with others. Elena found her voice first. Guardian, who are you? What is the ancient covenant? I am the last of those who signed the covenant, an agreement among the oldest civilizations in this galaxy to protect and nurture younger species until they could protect themselves. The Dominion of Kethmore represents those who rejected this philosophy, who believe that only the strong should survive, and that weaker civilizations exist only to serve their purposes. But why Earth? Why us? Because your species possesses something rare, the ability to find unity in diversity, to create beauty from chaos, to choose cooperation over domination even when domination would be easier. These qualities make you valuable allies in the greater struggle that spans galaxies. Zara stepped forward. Guardian, the alien fleet, will they attack? They cannot, while Earth remains under Covenant protection. But that protection is ending, as it must. Your species must now choose its own path among the stars. The mathematical proofs I transmitted to your scientists contain the fundamental principles of interstellar law and diplomacy. Study them well, for you will need them in the days to come. You're leaving us? Elena asked, a note of panic in her voice. I am not leaving. I am transitioning from guardian to advisor. The difference is significant. Guardians protect, advisors teach. Your species is ready to learn, but first you must prove to the Dominion that Earth cannot be taken by force. The implications hit Zara like a physical blow. You want us to fight them? I want you to demonstrate that humanity has progressed beyond being easy prey. The Dominion respects strength and cunning. Show them both, and they will propose negotiation rather than destruction. Fail, and even the ancient Covenant cannot protect a species that will not protect itself. Through the command center windows they could see the crystalline structure on the moon pulsing brighter, its light visible even through Earth's atmosphere. Guardian, Zara said, we're not a military species, we have conflicts among ourselves, but we've never faced anything like this. You have faced many things like this, though you did not recognize them as such. Every time your species has chosen to work together instead of destroying each other. Every time you have chosen to explore instead of to conquer. Every time you have chosen to preserve life rather than take it. These were tests, and you have passed them. Elena wiped tears from her eyes. The mathematical proof you sent, it really was showing us how you've been guiding our development. Not guiding, protecting. The choices were always yours. I merely ensured that cosmic predators like the Dominion could not prevent you from making those choices. But the time for protection has ended. Now you must make choices that will determine not just the survival of your species, but its role in the greater community of conscious beings. The Guardian's voice took on a tone of urgent instruction. The alien fleet will remain stationary for exactly 72 hours, while their leaders deliberate my challenge. During that time, you must demonstrate capabilities that will convince them Earth is more valuable as an ally than as a conquest. I have transmitted technical specifications that will allow you to upgrade your defensive and communication systems, but the will to use them effectively must come from humanity itself. Lieutenant Hayes was frantically taking notes. Guardian, what kind of capabilities? Your species has already discovered the theoretical foundations of faster-than-light communication, gravitational manipulation, and quantum field generation. The missing components are engineering applications, which I have now provided. But remember, technology without wisdom is more dangerous than wisdom without technology. Use these gifts to protect, not to dominate. As the Guardian spoke, every computer system in the command center began receiving massive data downloads, technical specifications, engineering diagrams, and theoretical frameworks that made Elena's head spin just looking at them. This is impossible, James whispered over the intercom. These engineering specs are describing technology centuries ahead of our current capabilities. And yet they build upon principles your scientists have already discovered, the Guardian replied. The progression is logical, not miraculous. Your species simply needed the final connections to make the leap from theory to application. Zara stared at the incoming data streams. How long will we have to implement these systems? The Dominion's 72-hour deliberation period is not arbitrary. It represents the maximum time the ancient covenant allows for peaceful resolution of territorial disputes. After that time expires, they are legally free to proceed with their original plan unless Earth demonstrates the capability to resist. And if we can't build these systems in time? The Guardian's response chilled everyone in the room. Then I will be forced to abandon my post, and humanity will face the Dominion alone. Elena looked around the command center at faces filled with terror and determination in equal measure. Guardian, why are you really doing this? After protecting us for so long, why risk everything on whether we can master alien technology in 3 days? The pause before the Guardian's answer felt like an eternity. Because Elena Vasquez, daughter of teachers, seeker of truth, bridge between languages, because in all my millennia of watching over younger species, I have never encountered one with the potential to not just survive among the stars, but to transform the very nature of how civilizations interact with each other. What do you mean? The Dominion represents the old way, power through domination, survival through the elimination of threats. Most species that achieve interstellar travel follow this pattern because it seems logical, efficient, safe. But humanity has consistently chosen a different path. You create art that serves no survival purpose except to bring joy. You risk your lives to save strangers. You work together even when competition would benefit you individually. The Guardian's voice grew softer, almost wistful. These qualities make you dangerous to empires built on fear and domination. If other species learn that cooperation and creativity can be more powerful than conquest and control, the entire galactic order could change. That is why the Dominion wants to destroy you, and that is why you must be strong enough to protect not just yourselves, but the revolutionary example you represent. Elena felt tears streaming down her face as the full magnitude of their situation became clear. We're not just fighting for Earth, we're fighting for a different kind of future. Yes, and that fight begins now. The next 72 hours transformed human civilization in ways that would have seemed impossible just days before. Every major nation contributed resources, scientists, and military personnel to the crash program of implementing the Guardian's technology. The engineering specifications were indeed building on existing human knowledge, but the leap required was staggering. Quantum field generators that could deflect energy weapons, faster-than-light communication arrays that could coordinate global defenses instantly, and gravitational manipulation systems that could move massive objects with the precision of a surgeon's scalpel. Elena found herself at the center of a global effort to not just build the technology, but understand its philosophical implications. The Guardian had not simply handed humanity weapons, it had given them tools that required unprecedented cooperation to operate effectively. The quantum field generators only work if they're synchronized globally, Dr. Park explained during a briefing to world leaders. No one nation can deploy this technology independently. It requires every major power to share control and coordinate timing perfectly. And the communication arrays? Asked the British Prime Minister. They function through quantum entanglement networks that span the entire planet. Any attempt to use them for national advantage rather than global defense would cause the entire system to collapse. Elena realized the deeper strategy. The Guardian isn't just giving us tools to fight the Dominion, it's forcing us to become the kind of species that could use such tools responsibly. President Martinez, participating via secure video link, voiced what everyone was thinking. Dr. Vasquez, are you saying we can't defend Earth unless we work together? I'm saying the Guardian has designed the technology so that defending Earth requires us to evolve beyond national competition. We either succeed together or fail separately. As the deadline approached, miraculous progress was being made. Manufacturing facilities across the globe were producing components for systems that had never existed before. International space agencies were coordinating to position defense arrays in orbit. Military commanders who had viewed each other as potential enemies weeks before were now planning joint operations to protect their shared world. But it was the communication from the Dominion fleet that changed everything. The message came 18 hours before the deadline, transmitted in clear English that suggested they had been monitoring human communications all along. Inhabitants of TERRA-3, your Guardian's challenge has been reviewed by Imperial Command. You have been granted the opportunity to demonstrate your worthiness for continued existence. A single combat vessel will approach your world. If you can prevent its completion of a planetary survey mission, your species will be offered terms for incorporation into the Dominion as a client race. If you cannot, the cleansing will proceed as originally planned. Zara read the message to the Global Command Council with a mixture of relief and dread. "They're offering us a test instead of immediate destruction." "What kind of test?" asked the Japanese defense minister. Elena had been studying the message for patterns and implications. "A planetary survey mission probably means they want to map our defensive capabilities and resource distribution. If they complete it, they'll know exactly how to conquer us efficiently. And if we stop them, then we prove we're worth keeping alive as servants rather than eliminating as a threat." The distinction was important. Client races in the Dominion maintained some autonomy in exchange for providing resources and technological contributions to the Empire. It wasn't freedom, but it was survival. "There's another possibility," Dr. Park said quietly. "What if this isn't just a test of our defensive capabilities, but a test of our character?" The Guardian said the Dominion respects strength and cunning. "Maybe we need to show them that negotiation is stronger than domination." Elena's eyes lit up. "James, you might be right. What if the real test is whether we can find a way to complete the survey mission ourselves while preventing them from doing it? Showing that cooperation achieves more than conquest?" Before anyone could respond to this suggestion, alarms sounded throughout the global command network. The Dominion had deployed their test vessel, and it was unlike anything they had prepared for. Instead of a single ship, they were facing what appeared to be a swarm of smaller craft, each one moving independently but clearly coordinated in purpose. The swarm spread through the solar system like a living organism, sending probe tendrils toward every major celestial body. "They're not just surveying Earth," Hayes reported. "They're mapping the entire solar system. Resource distribution, energy sources, potential threats, everything." Elena suddenly understood. "It's not a test of whether we can defend Earth. It's a test of whether we can think beyond Earth. They want to see if we understand that any species capable of interstellar travel must think in terms of entire solar systems, not just individual planets." The realization changed their entire strategy. Instead of focusing solely on planetary defense, they needed to coordinate protection of the entire solar system, while simultaneously conducting their own comprehensive survey to prove they could match the Dominion's capabilities. "Guardian," Zara spoke aloud, hoping their mysterious protector was still listening. "We understand now. This isn't about defending one world. This is about proving we're ready to be responsible for an entire star system." The Guardian's response came immediately, transmitted directly to every command center on Earth. "The test has begun. You have 48 hours to demonstrate mastery of your local space. The choice of methods is yours, but remember, the Dominion values results, not intentions." What followed was the most ambitious, coordinated effort in human history. Space agencies launched survey missions to every planet and major asteroid in the solar system. The new faster-than-light communication arrays allowed real-time coordination between missions millions of miles apart. Quantum field generators protected the survey teams from Dominion interference while simultaneously gathering intelligence on alien capabilities. But Elena's insight about cooperation proving stronger than conquest became the key to their success. Instead of trying to drive off the Dominion probes, human teams began intercepting them and offering to share survey data in exchange for information about alien technology and cultural practices. "You're trying to negotiate with our test proctors?" asked the Russian commander incredulously. "I'm trying to prove that we understand the difference between competition and cooperation," Elena replied. "The Guardian said humanity's greatest strength was our ability to choose cooperation over domination. Let's show the Dominion what that looks like." The strategy was risky, but it worked. Several Dominion probe teams responded to human overtures with cautious information exchanges. The quality of data both sides were gathering improved dramatically through collaboration, and the survey of the solar system was completed with unprecedented accuracy. More importantly, Elena's linguistic team was finally able to establish direct communication with Dominion commanders. The conversations that followed revealed crucial information about the galactic political situation. "The Dominion is not the only interstellar power," Elena reported to the Global Command Council. "There are at least 6 major civilizations, and they're locked in a complex balance of power. Earth's location makes it strategically valuable to multiple factions. So we're not just choosing between submission and destruction," Zara realized. "We're choosing which interstellar alliance to join. Or whether to try to remain independent," Elena added. "But independence would require proving we can defend ourselves against any faction that might decide we're a threat." The final phase of the test came down to a single moment. The Dominion commander, a being called Sub-Admiral Korthak, requested direct communication with human leadership. When his image appeared on screens throughout the global command network, Elena was struck by how humanoid he appeared, tall, elegant, with features that suggested both intelligence and predatory instincts. "Humans of Terra 3, Korthak began, his voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to absolute obedience. "Your performance during the survey test has been adequate. You have demonstrated technological adaptation capability and strategic thinking that exceeds our initial assessments." He paused, and Elena sensed this was a critical moment. However, adequacy is not sufficient for membership in the Dominion. We require absolute loyalty and unquestioning service from client races. Your behavior during this test suggests a troubling tendency toward independence and negotiation. Elena felt her heart sink. They had proven their capabilities, but apparently those capabilities made them less desirable as servants. "Therefore," Korthak continued, "I am authorized to offer you a choice that has never before been extended to a species at your level of development." The pause that followed felt eternal. "You may choose immediate incorporation as a standard client race, with the limitations and protections that status provides. Or you may choose provisional independence, the right to develop as an autonomous civilization, subject to periodic review, and with the understanding that any aggression toward Dominion interests will result in immediate termination." Elena chose glances with Zara and the other leaders on the Global Council. Neither option was ideal, but provisional independence was far better than they had dared hope for. "Sub-Admiral," Elena said, stepping forward as the designated spokesperson for Earth, "we are honored by your offer of choice. But before we respond, may we ask what factors influenced this unprecedented decision?" Korthak's expression shifted slightly, becoming less formal. "Your guardian was quite persuasive in arguing that your species represents a unique development model that could benefit interstellar civilization. Additionally, our preliminary assessment suggests that attempting to control humanity would require more resources than allowing you to develop independently under observation." "In other words," Zara murmured, "we're more trouble than we're worth as slaves, but potentially valuable as allies." "You learn quickly," Korthak replied, apparently having heard the comment. "The Dominion values practical solutions above ideological purity. Your species shows promise, but requires time to reach its full potential. We are prepared to allow that time, provided you demonstrate continued progress toward cosmic citizenship." Elena realized this was the moment that would define humanity's future among the stars. "Sub-Admiral, on behalf of Earth and all its inhabitants, we choose provisional independence. We understand the responsibilities that choice entails, and we accept them." "Very well. The Provisional Independence Charter will be transmitted to your guardian for formal processing. You have 1 standard galactic year to establish formal diplomatic relations with at least 3 major civilizations, and to demonstrate protective capability for your entire star system. Failure to meet these requirements will result in automatic incorporation as a client race." The transmission ended, leaving the Global Command Council in stunned silence. "Did we just negotiate our way to independence from a galactic empire?" someone whispered. Elena looked around at the faces of leaders from every major nation on Earth, all of them united for the first time in human history by the shared understanding that their world was part of something infinitely larger and more complex than they had ever imagined. "Guardian?" she called out, hoping for confirmation that their choice had been wise. The response came not as a voice, but as a gentle presence that seemed to fill the command center with warmth and approval. "You have chosen well, children of Earth. The path ahead is challenging, but you have proven today that humanity possesses the wisdom to walk it successfully." The crystalline structure on the moon pulsed once more, its light visible even in the afternoon sky, and then gradually faded until it appeared to be nothing more than another crater shadow. But Elena knew the Guardian was still there, transitioning from protector to advisor as promised, ready to help humanity navigate its first steps as an independent civilization among the stars. As she looked around at her colleagues, scientists, military officers, politicians, and diplomats, who had become something more than the sum of their individual nations, Elena realized that Earth's real test was just beginning. They had 1 year to prove that a species that had spent most of its history fighting among themselves could become responsible guardians of an entire star system and worthy participants in galactic civilization. It was the most important exam humanity had ever faced, and for the first time in her life, Elena was confident they would pass. 6 months into humanity's provisional independence, Elena stood in the newly constructed Lunar Diplomatic Center, watching through reinforced transparent aluminum as the first official alien delegation to Earth prepared to disembark from their vessel. The ship itself was a marvel of engineering that defied every human understanding of physics, a flowing, organic structure that seemed to shift between solid and liquid states as it maneuvered through the lunar atmosphere. "Remember," she told the assembled human diplomatic team, "the Altarians communicate through both verbal language and electromagnetic field modulation. Their emotional states directly affect their bioelectric signatures, so any deception or hostility will be immediately apparent to them." Dr. James Park, now serving as humanity's first xenopsychologist, adjusted his specialized sensor equipment. "Elena, are you sure we're ready for this? 6 months ago, we didn't even know aliens existed, and now we're trying to establish formal diplomatic relations with a species that can literally read our minds." "They can't read our thoughts," Elena corrected. "They can sense our emotional sincerity. There's a significant difference. And James, we don't have a choice. The Dominion's Provisional Independence Charter requires us to establish formal relations with 3 major civilizations within 1 year. The Altarians are our best chance for a peaceful first contact." Through the observation windows, they could see the alien delegation emerging from their ship. The Altarians were tall, graceful beings with translucent skin that revealed the bioluminescent neural pathways beneath. When they moved, subtle waves of light rippled across their bodies, creating a hypnotic display that was both beautiful and slightly unnerving. Commander Zara Chen, now serving as Earth's first Director of Interstellar Relations, joined them at the observation deck. "The Guardian's briefing materials suggest the Altarians are natural mediators," she said. "They've helped resolve conflicts between other species because their empathic abilities make them excellent judges of character and intention." "No pressure, then," James muttered. Elena smiled despite her nervousness. "Actually, that's exactly what we want. If we can convince the Altarians that humanity is genuinely committed to peaceful coexistence, their endorsement will carry weight with other civilizations." The formal first contact proceeded with careful protocol that had been developed through months of consultation with the Guardian. The lead Altarian diplomat, who translated their name as Harmony of Distant Stars, communicated through a combination of melodic tones and the light patterns that flowed across their skin. "We have observed your species' rapid transition from planetary to stellar awareness," Harmony conveyed through the translation devices. "The speed of your adaptation is remarkable, but we must assess whether it represents genuine evolution or merely technological acquisition." Elena stepped forward as Earth's primary spokesperson. "Honored Harmony, we understand your concern. 6 months ago, we were indeed a single-planet species focused primarily on internal conflicts. But our encounter with the Dominion and the Guardian's guidance have fundamentally changed how we view ourselves and our place in the galaxy." The light patterns on Harmony's skin shifted to deeper blues and purples, colors that the Guardian's briefing materials indicated represented thoughtful consideration. "Your electromagnetic signature suggests sincerity," Harmony replied. "But sincerity of intention does not always translate to capability of action. The galaxy is vast and dangerous. Young species often develop noble ideals but lack the strength to maintain them when tested." "Then test us," Elena said, the words coming out before she could stop them. The room fell silent. Even the subtle humming that emanated from the Altarian delegation's bioelectric fields seemed to pause. "You request evaluation?" Harmony asked, their skin patterns shifting to bright golds and whites that indicated surprise. Elena felt her heart racing, but she pressed forward. "We're asking for the opportunity to prove ourselves through action rather than just words. If there's a situation where the Altarians require assistance, or where human capabilities could contribute to galactic stability, we want to be considered as partners rather than just subjects for observation." Dr. Park grabbed her arm. "Elena, what are you doing?" But Commander Chen nodded approvingly. "Dr. Vasquez is right. We can't build credibility just by talking about our intentions. We need to demonstrate them." Harmony's skin pattern cycled through a complex sequence of colors before settling on a warm amber that suggested both interest and caution. There is indeed a situation that has concerned the Altarian collective. The Void Singers have gone silent. The Void Singers? Elena asked. A species of deep space dwellers who communicate across interstellar distances through quantum harmonic resonance. For 3 centuries, their songs have provided early warning of spatial anomalies, dangerous celestial events, and the movement of hostile forces through our region of the galaxy. 6 months ago, their songs stopped. Elena felt a chill. The same time the Dominion fleet appeared in our solar system? The correlation has been noted. Several expeditions have been sent to investigate the Void Singers' last known coordinates, but none have returned. The disappearances have created a diplomatic crisis among the species that relied on Void Singer warnings. Commander Chen leaned forward. And you want us to investigate? The Altarian collective would view successful contact with the Void Singers as evidence that humanity possesses the courage and capability necessary for galactic citizenship. However, we must emphasize the extreme danger involved. The region where the Void Singers dwelt contains gravitational anomalies that can destroy starships, and whatever caused their silence may still be present. Elena looked around at her colleagues, seeing a mixture of excitement and terror on their faces. This was exactly the kind of test the Guardian had warned them about, an opportunity to prove themselves that carried the risk of catastrophic failure. We'll need time to prepare, Elena said carefully, and we'll need access to technology beyond what we currently possess. The Altarian collective is prepared to provide technological assistance to any expedition we officially endorse, Harmony replied. But the mission itself must be planned and executed by human personnel. We will not be seen as interfering in your test of capability. How long do we have to decide? Harmony's skin patterns shifted to urgent reds and oranges. The silence of the Void Singers grows more concerning with each passing day. Other species are beginning to develop their own theories about what happened, and some of those theories involve potential threats to galactic stability. If the situation is not resolved soon, it may escalate beyond diplomatic solutions. After the Altarian delegation departed, Elena found herself alone with the Guardian in the lunar facility's most secure communication chamber. The Guardian's presence manifested as subtle shifts in the room's lighting, and a sense of ancient wisdom that seemed to emanate from the walls themselves. You have committed humanity to a dangerous path, the Guardian observed, its voice carrying neither approval nor disapproval. You said we needed to prove ourselves through actions, not just words, Elena replied. The Altarians are offering us exactly that opportunity. Yes, but you should understand the full context of what you have agreed to investigate. The Void Singers are not merely another species that has gone silent. They are beings of immense power, who chose to isolate themselves in the most dangerous regions of space specifically to avoid interaction with younger civilizations. Elena felt her stomach drop. You're saying they're more advanced than the Dominion? The Void Singers are older than the Dominion, older than the Altarians, older than most of the species currently active in this galaxy. Their songs didn't just provide warnings about spatial anomalies, they helped maintain the stability of local space-time itself. And now they're gone? Or something has prevented them from singing. The implications for galactic stability are significant. Elena sank into a chair, suddenly understanding the magnitude of what she had volunteered humanity for. Guardian, did we just agree to investigate something that could be beyond our ability to comprehend, let alone resolve? Possibly. But Elena, consider this. If the Void Singers have indeed been silenced by some external force, that force now represents a threat to every civilization in this region of the galaxy. Someone will have to investigate eventually. The question is whether humanity wants to be part of that investigation as an equal partner, or wait to face the consequences as a powerless observer. Over the next 3 weeks, Earth's best scientists and engineers worked frantically to develop the capabilities needed for a deep space investigation mission. The Altarians provided access to their gravitational mapping technology and quantum communication systems, but the humans had to figure out how to integrate alien technology with their own ships and equipment. Elena found herself at the center of the mission planning, not just as a linguist, but as one of the few people who had successfully communicated with multiple alien species. If they encountered the Void Singers, or whatever had silenced them, she would likely be humanity's primary spokesperson. The mission profile is terrifying. Dr. Park told her during one of their planning sessions. We're talking about traveling to a region of space where the normal laws of physics break down, looking for beings we've never met to investigate a mystery that has stumped civilizations far more advanced than us. When you put it like that, it sounds completely insane, Elena agreed. But James, think about what success would mean. If we can solve this mystery, we won't just earn recognition from the Altarians, we'll have contributed something meaningful to galactic civilization. And if we fail, then at least we'll fail while trying to do something that matters. The expedition ship, Harmony's Dream, was a hybrid of human engineering and Altarian technology, designed specifically for the unique challenges of investigating the Voidsinger's disappearance. The crew consisted of 12 specialists, Elena and Dr. Park for communication and xenopsychology, Commander Chen and 3 military officers for security and tactical analysis, 4 engineers to maintain the hybrid systems, and 2 astrophysicists to interpret whatever they might find in the anomalous space where the Voidsingers had dwelt. Elena stood on the ship's observation deck, watching Earth recede behind them as they began their journey to the edge of known space. The blue marble that had once represented the entirety of human existence now looked like just one small world among countless others. Second thoughts? Commander Chen asked, joining her at the viewport. Constantly, Elena admitted, but also excited thoughts, curious thoughts, determined thoughts. We're about to attempt something that no human has ever done before. Investigate an interstellar mystery? Prove that we belong among the stars. The journey to the Voidsinger's region took 2 weeks, during which the crew practiced emergency protocols and studied everything the Altarians had shared about their missing allies. The Voidsingers, they learned, were beings of pure energy who had evolved beyond physical form millions of years ago. They had chosen to inhabit the most unstable regions of space because their songs could stabilize quantum fluctuations and prevent the formation of dangerous spatial anomalies. So they're not just missing, Dr. Park realized as they reviewed the data. If something has happened to them, entire star systems could be at risk from gravitational collapse or quantum storms. Elena stared at the data streaming across her screen, feeling the weight of cosmic responsibility settling on her shoulders. Just months ago, she had been a linguist trying to decode alien mathematics in an underground bunker, terrified that humanity might be wiped out by forces beyond their comprehension. Now she was part of a team preparing to venture into the most dangerous regions of space to investigate the disappearance of beings older than most civilizations. James, she said quietly, do you realize what this means? We're not just trying to prove we belong among the stars anymore. We're being asked to help solve a crisis that could affect the entire galaxy. Dr. Park nodded, his expression grave. 6 months ago, we were worried about surviving first contact. Now we're potentially responsible for preventing a catastrophe that could destroy multiple star systems. Elena looked around the mission planning room at her colleagues. Human scientists and engineers working alongside Altarian advisors, using technology that had been theoretical fantasy just a year earlier. Through the viewport, she could see the hybrid expedition ship taking shape, a symbol of cooperation between species that had never imagined they would need each other. You know what the strangest part is? Elena said, thinking back to that long-ago conversation with the Guardian when it had first warned them about choosing their path among the stars. We spent so long worried about proving we were worthy of survival, and now we're discovering that our real test isn't about worthiness at all, it's about responsibility. Commander Chen appeared in the doorway, holding a datapad with the final mission authorizations. Elena, Dr. Park, the expedition is approved. We launch in 72 hours. Elena felt a familiar mixture of terror and excitement that she now recognized as the feeling of standing at the threshold of something larger than herself. But this time, the feeling was accompanied by something new. Confidence. Not confidence that they would succeed. The risks were too great for that kind of certainty, but confidence that they were ready to try. Commander, she said, accepting the datapad and seeing the signatures of leaders from 3 different species authorizing humanity's first major interstellar rescue mission, I think we've finally found our answer to that question the Guardian asked us. Which question? Whether humanity was ready to choose its own path among the stars. Elena looked out at the expedition ship, at the alien advisors working alongside human engineers, at the vast universe that no longer seemed quite so terrifying. We're not just choosing our path anymore. We're helping to build new paths that didn't exist before. As she prepared for humanity's greatest adventure yet, Elena realized that the young species who had once faced extinction for being unmarriageable to galactic civilization had instead become the matchmakers, bringing together civilizations that had never learned to work together, proving that the universe was vast enough for all kinds of love, including the love between species brave enough to trust each other with their survival. The story of Earth's place among the stars was just beginning, and Elena couldn't wait to see what impossible things they would make possible next. The end.